One of the tiny poems for my daughter, chameleonic. She is a rainbow of self-preservation. Every tint and shade a postcard home, with little notes and faded stamps, marking the margins of all she has survived. I'm going to do a couple of New Mexico poems. Renovations at the Santuario de Guadalupe. Jesus is on his back on the grand piano while workers repaint the Santuario. He's an old time-worn piece of wood with chips on the knees, one on the forehead, white scabs on one tough man god. The painters reach to turn off the wail of mariachi music on a white splattered radio so we can discuss sacred images. And I notice through the scaffolding that the nails now look as if they go through his feet, the cross, and into the piano. And his head, normally bowed when the cross is upright, looks now as if he's trying to get up. Here's one for one of the strangest little towns. I've had two very good friends who have worked in this town. One of them still works there, a guy named Gary Moody. He's a wonderful poet. He also happens to be a structural engineer who is trying to save the world by containing nuclear waste. Los Alamos, for a long time, I don't know if it still holds the distinction, has more PhDs per capita than any city or town in the U.S. Now, how screwed up would that place have to be? Just for that one reason. So this is a very unusual place, and this is a poem called for Gary and Kim, both of them, called Remember Los Alamos. The best part's the drive-in. The town itself leaves me a little dry, like every time my president utters nuclear for the type of weapons everyone else should not have. I'm sure there's something at its core, something cool like winter or a hot nightlife, but I can't find it. I turn right on Oppenheimer Road, hoping something will explode into view. But it only goes 100 feet and then dead ends in the public library. While sipping heavy coffee in Cafe Allegro, a huge peach granola muffin just glows with flavor, like there was a great big buttery meltdown in the back of the kitchen. And a Japanese family sits 2 tables over from me. 2 fabulous daughters with fabulous tattoos. And the bumper sticker on the register reads, Los Alamos, birthplace of the bomb. That was one of those lonely moments where you're sitting there going, there's a Japanese family sitting next to me, like a family of 4, and I'm looking at the register, and it's just, am I the only one? I was just like, am I the only? It's just so wrong. This is so wrong. It was a very lonely little house. I was like, I can't do this. I can't do this. Wow. And so that was rough. So 2 more. This is called Neruda's Garden. When the soldiers flooded Neruda's garden with their orders that night on Isla Negra, the poet turned them on their heels from the top of his stairs with one careful phrase. There is only one danger for you here. Poetry. And so it is I'm reminded that some poet in the Middle East lost his hand today, which makes me sad how safe I am in America these days. The worst they would do here, what, tap my phone? monitor emails, or maybe peek at my books, which worries me very little when it comes to a politician's skills with literary interpretation. Capitol Hill has forgotten this power. They don't know where to send the soldiers anymore. They've lost the coordinates for the garden. But I am at my desk upstairs writing, and the garden is here outside my window, filled with fellow citizens sipping lattes and driving Toyotas, and I am trying to become dangerous. And I'll end with this. By the way, I want to thank Malvern Books. Joe, thank you so much. And you guys, please support wonderful places like this. We need more of this wonderfulness in the world. And just love what you're doing. Power to you. Thank you. Thank you for being here. And thank you for holding poetry readings. Qualification for sainthood in my book. All right? Taking that chance. And I'll end with this poem. It's a poem that I dedicate to the critics. Really, I dedicate it to fellow artists. It's about critics. And I'm not a big fan. Don't know how they get their job. You know, get a sword on each shoulder, and I dub the, qualified to ruin careers and rake people over their coals. And so I decided that I would make my statement by becoming a critic and critiquing a work of art. And if there's a difference between being critiqued and being critiqued. And if you've ever been critiqued, you know the difference between the two. Dear God, I have always admired your work, and were it not for that, I wouldn't bother you with this, but I must say that your installation piece at Point Lobos Nature Reserve above Big Sur in California simply goes too far. The Monterey pines are too tall, the cypresses are too fanned out in perfection from trunks tied in intricate knots that would take centuries to unravel. The cliffs appear superimposed just for dramatic effect, with fairy tale caves giving forth bursts of blue water